what we're going to do now is we're going to zoom out from the individual airport investment projects for a while. We'll come back to those. But this was a bit of a late addition. It's a fantastic late addition, and Alex and I have been talking for ages. And what we want to do here is we want to provide a macro overview of the current airport investment that's happening from an African level. Alex Vidal himself has got massive experience advising airports on investments and plenty of experience actually here in Africa too. The Modalis team are world leaders when it comes to this type of advisory and specialists in airport advisory. So I'm really excited about this and seeing what the story is for Africa. So please welcome me in joining Alex to the stage.
Thank you, John. My name is Alex. I work for Modalis. And my contribution, as I said before, is to present to you the ongoing deals in Africa under a PPP, and also the future pipeline and future transactions. Before that, so I have an accent. My English is not as good as the previous speakers. I have an accent, so it comes from Spain. Don't. So who is Modalis? Modalis is a strategic and operational advisory firms focusing on airport business only. We work for governments, for investors, for financiers, contractors, and airport operators. And our service offering is across 5 business lines: airport strategic advisory, airport quality management, where we help airports in operations, in ORAT, activation, etc. Airport CX, where we help airports to improve passengers' satisfaction. Airport TS, where we help airports to source candidates to cover some specific positions, C executive level most of the time. And Airport IR. Airport IR is specifically tailored to private sector airport transaction, right? We are monitoring and tracking investments globally in the primary and secondary market. So what we are going to see in the next slides is a view as accurate as possible, because I'm sure that after these 3 days with you, I will need to fine-tune and update my presentation, right? So I'm going to show you what are the existing PPP deals in Africa, what are the ongoing process, and what are the potential deals in the coming years from the public available sources, of course. So as a matter of introduction, you can see most of the PPP agreements are located in Central and Western Africa. But this is likely to change in the coming years very, very much, right? So let's make it stop a little bit on the drivers that have an influence on the air transport. So we see that the economic growth forecast for Africa is above the world average, which is the basis to stimulate the traffic. Secondly, we observe that there's an expected significant growth of population. As Marcel said before, Africa is a very young population continent, and this will, of course, create the demand for tomorrow. So all these drivers and factors, combined with some initiatives to stimulate the traffic as the single Africa air transport market, results in a very positive perspectives in terms of growth of air transport. So airports need to cope with this traffic demand, right? And they need to adapt the infrastructure accordingly. So this is an interesting slide because it shows that half of the passenger traffic flows through globally. I'm talking an average global, flows through airports participated by the private sector, right? In Africa, the figure is slightly below, but this can be easily explained because most of the busiest airports are public owned. Cairo, Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Casablanca, right? However, it is interesting to note that Africa was one of the first continents venturing in PPPs, with Libreville Airport in Abidjan, in Gabon, undergoing into a PP process, and then followed by Abidjan in the early 90s. So we were at the very beginning of the PPP movement across the globe for airports, and Africa was there. So over the last decades, we have seen different models of governance and development emerging across the globe. And we can see most of them in Africa. So this slide shows the different models that we have been observing in the last years. So we're starting from the left to the right. We start with these public-owned companies or entities, and then we see different forms of private sector participation, right? We can see the management contracts, the typical private concession, and we have some, let's say, some unique cases, Lanseria, and this technical agreement with Aegis for Zanzibar. So let's have a look now on the existing PPPs agreement on OEM contracts in Africa. So we have tried to summarize all these contracts in one single slide. So what we observe here is that there's an acceleration of PPP deals over the last 5 years, right? Last 5 years counts as many PPP deals as before, keeping in mind that Abidjan and Libreville are renewal of concessions, right? So it's a game changer in Africa. We see also that some of the deals have been done under direct negotiation, right? And that the traditional French investors/operators has been seriously challenged by newcomers from Turkey and Middle East. So most of the contract types are BOTs, right? BOTs, build, operate, transfer, this is a concession. But we also see some management contracts and some technical assistance. But I'm sure, again, that after these 3 days, I will need to date this. So what is happening now in Africa? So we are observing some ongoing process in Angola for Luanda, a greenfield airport to the existing one. The tendering is ongoing. We in Burkina Faso, the Meridiam concession, the concession awarded to Meridiam was revoked by the government, and the government is open to launch a new tender. In Togo, it's not really a concession; it's more a finance where Meridiam is financing the new terminal upper extension, but Meridiam will not take a role of operator. In Cairo, so we are hearing also some winds of change. There's a program to privatize the airport, and already World Bank, IFC are starting conducting some feasibility studies. In Uganda, it's interesting. In Uganda, there's a law, or there's a provision of a law foreseeing unsolicited proposals for PPPs, right? So today, a local company called East of Eden made a proposition to the government who has been accepted and started the feasibility study for Arua Airport. In Kigali, it's not yet a PPP, but there's interesting development where Qatar Airways is financing part of the construction of the new building, right? And we don't know what is going to be a private operated or under Rwanda Airport Community, Airport Corporation. Sorry. And we have in Nigeria, where the privatization process was in a standby during change of government. But what is interesting is the potential processes, right? We are hearing a lot of noise in Kenya, right? This is public information where the government plans to undertake the expansion of Jomo Kenyatta Airport under a PPP. We have Gambia, we have Seychelles. Seychelles is between an ongoing and potential process, right? We have Guinea-Conakry as well, and more, let's say, on the short, long term is Morocco or Cameroon, where they will welcoming new investors to develop the water infrastructure. So basically, this is in a nutshell a picture of the PPD deals across Africa. I'm here the 3 days, so I'm happy to engage any discussions with you to see and to discuss further about these deals and what is the key success factor of each deal. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you appreciate the presentation. Thank you very much.